Are you guys moving?
No, we're set. I use those boxes for Aldi.
Welcome back to Can You Not? Since one of our guest stars is gone, I can't remember her name at this point. Is it Amy or I don't know. But anyway, she'll be back next week when we do our live show. But in her spot today is Ozma, who is a friend of ours. And Ozma, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello, I'm Ozma. How's it going?
What are you interested in, Ozma? What's your passion?
Passion in life?
Yeah.
I don't know, just like whatever comes at me that I enjoy.
She likes film.
We're very pleased to have her today. Before we go into today's theme, though, I do want to say we talked in our last episode, Jesse, about the inability to feel pain condition. And our friend Anna said that the condition itself, or one of the conditions, is called congenital insensitivity to pain. And sometimes they do have a muted sense of temperature, but sometimes they can feel temperature entirely. But there's actually a very severe version of the condition where they can't feel anything at all, including temperature, which can be extremely dangerous because they have all kinds of symptoms such as, say, like rubbing their eye raw while they're sleeping because they don't feel any sort of pain or any reaction or something like that, or biting off the tip of their tongue. I think raising a child is hard enough, but I'm sure raising a child with something like that would be absolutely terrible. Not very common, thankfully, but common enough that there's a name for it. So.
And a Wikipedia page.
And a Wikipedia page with a picture. So the theme we have today that we wanted to do was some of our favorite albums. We thought since Ozma was a bit overwhelmed by our pseudo-political philosophical musings that we do something that we would not all have to prepare a whole lot for.
You know, my interest of late has been hip-hop, and it's been hip-hop for most of my life, but I didn't start out that way. Funny enough, I grew up listening to country music, and my favorite album before I ever listened to the album that I will discuss is Garth Brooks' Scarecrow.
Dude, I used to love country music.
Yeah.
Everyone has that phase in their life. It's okay.
And that album meant so much to me. It was such a good album at the time. The songwriting was really good.
I think he's underrated, honestly.
He's very overrated. He's one of the best-selling artists of all time. So,
but as a songwriter, I think he's underrated. I think he
got a lot of help.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just him writing the songs?
No, yeah, but...
Oh, okay.
But going further into this, it wasn't until I listened to Kanye West's College Dropout, for me, that turned my whole perspective around with what music is, what music could be, and what is the ceiling for hip-hop, and can it be broken? And at that time, you know, to be signed as a rapper, you had to have killed someone. I mean, it was Kanye West was very counter the trend at the time.
Unless you were Denny Blazenhazen. Continue.
So I heard Through the Wire on the radio at the time, and I didn't know the backstory behind it, but Through the Wire, he recorded it after he got in a car accident and his jaw was wired shut. And he was told, you cannot rap. You're not allowed to rap. Like, you have to stop this album for X amount of months or a year until you, like, recuperate. And he said, forget that. And he was bleeding in the studio, spitting these verses.
Literally, like, spitting blood.
Spitting blood through the wire.
Right.
And the musicality behind that, it samples really great soul songs. And it was the stuff that I was around at the time. And the whole idea of the album is so pertinent now because here you are, you're working X amount of hours, you're taking X amount of classes, you really don't think you have promise, there's no job out of getting a degree, You know what I mean? Like, who is telling you to do what? Are you following your dreams? Is that something that you really thought of from the start? And the album touches upon that a lot. And also, it also gave me insight into my brother, too, because he was head of the Alpha Psi Alphas, a very, very prominent black fraternity. And it gave me this insight within the album because of the skits in it. And
those are fun.
Yeah, the skits are fun, and it brings you this whole different world into what school is and what school can be, and how much you can hate it.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I love that album, and I mean, it redefined hip hop. Yeah. It made hip hop entirely different. So that's my favorite album.
Well, I heard that he got famous like when Jesus Walks came out. Like everyone told him like it was way too religious and like it wasn't gonna get famous and it was gonna like mess up his career, and like it became like the biggest hit.
Oh yeah.
And like that's why he's famous pretty much.
Yeah, it's one of the best tracks off of the album. And he did 2 different music videos for it too.
That's cool.
And the original one was a Ku Klux Klan member falling off of a hill, burning because he lit himself on fire trying to light the cross. Which is crazy in itself, you know what I mean? I mean, he's always been just so ahead.
Oh, yeah.
But you couldn't rap about your fave and be on top 40, and he was able to do it.
Yeah.
And even before that, a song like Through the Wire was nothing spectacular, but there was something about this backstory to it and how he presented it, which to this day he still does that. What is the backstories of all his albums?
Right.
He's having a Twitter rampage, you know what I mean? Like, he's making weird stuff. Like, there's always a backstory to a Kanye West album before you even get it. That's what I think makes him so interesting.
Well, he's like one of those artists that I feel like isn't quite as common, where it feels like everything he does is this big artistic venture. And the way he approaches things, whether it be fashion line or, you know, actual artwork or music or something like that, is like, it's such a dense sort of way to approach art that I don't think a whole lot of artists can pull off very well, or at least not in the way that he does so successfully. Because, you know, the average artist, they'll have to maybe act in a couple movies here or there, but for the most part, like, they're mostly told, hey, just stick to performing, stick to singing or something like that. But to see an artist like Kanye who actively dabbles in so much, I think is so cool to see, and that he keeps doing it, I think is great.
And I mean, he was one of the first artists to completely produce his own project on his own and then be the prominent showcased artist. Like, he redefined that as well, in multiple genres too. So I don't know, this album is kind of the genesis of what I guess post-rap or trap rap is, in a sense. A lot of it comes from what he did and how he developed it. So I love that album.
Are you a Kanye fan, Asma?
I like Kanye. I used to really not like Kanye. He was very annoying. But that was when he like released Yeezus and it like wasn't good. And he just talked so much shit and like, I don't know. But I like him now. Like his new album, what's it called?
Life of Pablo.
Life of Pablo's good. There is jams on Life of Pablo. So. See,
I liked Life of Pablo. Jesse wasn't quite as enthusiastic about it though.
Really? Why?
A couple issues. He's the type of artist where he'll take a contemporary song like Jumpman and then make facts in all those other songs. You know what I mean? So like, he can take inspiration from something and then make something with that as the base and then say he made something different. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. And it's very irritating. So I don't know. And the other thing, too, was it just wasn't focused. It wasn't a focused album to me. And that's the same with Yeezus. It wasn't focused.
I think only people that, like, are really into music would notice that, though. Like, general, like, you know, rap fans probably wouldn't be like, oh, this album isn't focused, you know. They'd be like, oh, yeah, like, Waves
like
is
this,
so good.
Yeah, like this smacks or something. Like, yeah, this is fire.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like fire album, Kanye.
Although the album that apparently
Kanye 2020.
So lit.
Although apparently the album that everybody loves that Jesse and I didn't get was Drake's new album.
Oh,
Views? I love Drake. Honestly, like, no shame. I'm sorry, Jesse. Like, Drake. I love Drake.
What?
We fell asleep when we first listened to it. No, like, we sat the laptop there. I fell asleep.
Okay, I cannot listen to an album all the way through. Like, I just get bored really easily. No matter how good a song is, like, I'll just get bored, you know, like. But, like, I feel like one by one, like, over a month after listening to the whole album, like, not song after song, because I can't listen to it song after song, then I like it. I like Drake. I don't know. There are a lot of parts where he just, like, makes, like, similes and shit like that, and it's weird, and it's not good. But other than that,
to the weirdness is how you're approaching it. Then, like,
not necessarily. When it's bad, you know, like.
Channing Tatum. That's a great line.
Yeah.
That's a great line.
I mean, whatever. He can do himself. I'm still into it.
Absolutely not.
I don't know. There are some good songs.
There was like
I think he's more of like a personality also, so you like him for his personality. But if you don't like his personality, then you don't like him at all, pretty much. You know, like, you have to be into what he's like about.
Which is
just
fine.
like Kanye, you know? Like, Kanye's really into himself, and you have to be okay with that. You have to, like, appreciate why he's so into himself.
I think the thing that I have a problem with Drake is he can rap. He can definitely rap. I don't think he can sing.
Oh.
So when he's singing for a whole song.
Oh, like Hotline Bling or something?
Or like the opening track where it has this great intro, has great strings.
Oh yeah, I was excited when I
first. And then he just is vocally all over the place. Like, he's just like, like, no, Drake.
Yeah,
no.
okay.
But yeah, so College Dropout, kids, please get that. Or what am I talking about? Just stream it. No one buys albums anymore except me, so just stream it.
All right, I'd say my favorite album, I don't know. It's not, I mean, I don't know. I'd say a good album. I don't know if I have a favorite album. Like, I really love Led Zeppelin, and, like, all of his albums are really good. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know, like, my favorite, though, I would, like, I'm really into hip-hop also. So I would say, like, Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, M.A.A.d City.
Wow,
yes.
Let's talk about this album.
Because, like,
so
every
good.
song, even, like, when was that released? Like,
2012.
Okay, so 4 years ago, like, it is still so good, and I'm still, like, always listening to it, you know?
It hasn't dated in those 4 years.
Exactly. Like, I love Kendrick Lamar. The other day in my sign language class, we had to, like, do, like, and we had to interview someone and ask all these questions, and my teacher saw that I said Kendrick Lamar was my favorite artist, and she's like, are you kidding me? He's so overrated, all this stuff. And I was like, he's not overrated. He's very well deserved of everything he's gotten.
Yeah.
Like, he's the second highest nominated person for what are they, Grammys?
Yeah.
Behind Michael Jackson.
Right.
Like, he had, what, 11? That's insane. And they're all very well deserved. Every single thing he features in and everything he releases is, like,
a piece of art.
Crazy new story, like a piece of art. It is overwhelmingly good.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's overrated. He, like, I don't know if there are enough people that like him.
You know what the crazy thing is? With each Kendrick Lamar album, you get something different, but you know it's him.
Yeah.
Section 80 was a great album.
Love Section 80.
Section 80, like, I love the idea of the gender perspective in it. There's a lot of gender perspective. There's a lot of class perspective. There's a lot of neighborhood perspective. And then you get the whole neighborhood in Good Kid, M.A.A.d City, and it's cinematic. So and how he made the album, it could go over and over again. Like a tape cassette, which is wild to me. And then the latest album, To Pimp a Butterfly, is my favorite. But I love
that one.
I love Good Kid, M.A.A.d City. What is your favorite song, Ozma, off of it?
Probably Dying of No.
Oh,
No.
don't even.
No, I wasn't about to say that. Well,
such a good song though.
I feel like I have to look at Spotify or something. I have such a bad memory.
Sing About Me.
Sing About Me. I'm dying with it. Yes! I love that song. It is just like so, it like warms my heart. I just love it.
I would say Kanye being a master of the showmanship and the flair and the sort of just like out there boisterous kind of thing. I think Kendrick is more a master of the like
Lyrically.
Oh yeah, I just put this out and like making it seem like it was a complete breeze, like not making a big deal, but somehow just like creating this gold and just being like, yeah, I made that. It's
what was
like,
the other one on like Untitled Unmastered? Oh, like that was so good, and you can tell it was so like raw, and it was freaking great.
This is another case where I love Untitled Unmastered. Jesse was a little about it because he felt it was so hodgepodge.
Well, I understand what
that
it
was
is.
like the point of it.
That's the point of it. But you know, some people like compilations. I'm not a compilation fan.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I just think like especially the way Kendrick works with like orchestrations and just having this fullness of sound where it like he'll just like pick a moment and it will just hit you, like it will just he's definitely my favorite hip-hop artist, and I think it's that experimental nature, but yet it's experimental but it's still accessible, I guess is what I like about it, and those tend to be my favorite kind of artists.
I saw him live last year, and it was easily the best concert I've ever been to.
I'm jealous. Where did you see him?
House of Blues.
Oh,
I was really close, and he was so phenomenal live. And what was I gonna say?
He's just so great. You just forgot your thought.
Yeah, no, and he changes the lyrics too. Like he'll totally like a famous song. And he'll like totally, you think you know what he's about to say, and then he like just completely puts in a new verse, and you're like, all right, I accept it. Like, and that's what I like. Also, he changes his shit live. So like, he performed Untitled 2 on Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon. I can't remember which one.
Oh yeah.
And it was so good.
Yes, it was.
And like he has never released that as a, like on Spotify or anything. And he'll like perform things that no one's ever heard, and it'll be just as good as everything else. You know, like it's crazy. He probably has so much stuff that's never been released.
Oh yeah. Well, I have Jesse to thank for even getting me into Kendrick. I remember when we were back at community college, he was like, I think you would like this. It's like a movie. And he was talking about Good Kid, M.A.A.d City. And like,
Nice.
It really is. It's a very cinematic album in how it's done. And I am forever in Jesse's debt for introducing me to the god that is Kendrick.
Yeah.
That album, I mean, what's crazy is all of his albums still are so relevant. And there's such few artists that you feel like, hey, you know, like this will be one of the people that will speak for all of us or something like that. You know what I mean? And he's kind of like a spokesperson for like people in our spot during our time at this very moment. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and his music videos are so like you can tell he just puts his like every single feeling into it. Like
that All Right music video is amazing.
All Right, and what was the You?
I was about to mention that.
Yeah, when he's trapped in the room.
And it's the red light.
Oh my god, it's insane. Like, I almost started crying.
The bottle just keeps spinning.
I was like, this is so sad. And, like, you can just tell, like, everything he did was just super, like, he was totally invested in it.
Right. Yeah, I think also, like, it's rare that you get a phenomenon that is, like, super, super critically acclaimed, but also is really, really, like, high-selling artist at the same time and popular. And he's like one of those rare crossovers at this point in time. And I'm so, like you said, I don't think that's being overrated. Just because something's popular doesn't mean it's overrated or it's too, you know, it's...
I mean, the other thing, too, is he doesn't offer a traditional record to the radio, except for, what was the song?
Was it Drank that got really big?
Yeah,
Swimming Pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that was his only radio traditional friendly song he's ever offered.
Right, and even that one's kind of
weird. I think I might have been on the radio.
Kinda here and there, but not Swimming Pools was running
huge.
the summer
at
that point in 2012.
King Kunta was getting a lot of play last year, I remember. But even that's like, again, it's a more unusual song. It's not like your typical standard radio friendly sort of hit, which I think is so cool. I love it when anything slips in and you're like, how did this happen? Like, I remember hearing that when that Gautier song like 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah,
somebody that I used to know. I'm like, what is this doing on the pop station? Why is everyone singing this song? And like,
that song got huge.
I like that song, but it seemed very odd to have it pop up like that.
Although Kendrick Lamar featuring in Taylor Swift's song was it was a good part. It was very disappointing to like my ego. I don't know.
He saved the song though.
He saved it, but like Taylor Swift songs don't need to be any bigger than they already are. Like she does not Kendrick Lamar should not be giving her the time of day.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm so shocked.
Yeah.
My girlfriend Bryce is not a Taylor Swift fan.
I cannot stand her.
Her white feminism sort of like.
Oh my god.
She's problematic.
I'm klutzy. I'm just like you. No, you're a superstar who goes on a world tour all the time and who speaks perfectly fine to the it's just like.
Well, like on those Snapchat things, like they have like Cosmo and like all those things. There was like, I don't even know why I clicked on it, but it was like like 25 people Taylor Swift has beefs with. And for some reason, I, read the whole thing and just looked at the list, and there were 25 celebrities. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that is so many people to have beef with. Yeah. And one of them was Zayn from One Direction, and like his reason was really good. Like he retweeted something, like some side-by-side image, and it was like Taylor Swift complaining about how stars don't make enough money from Spotify, so she took all her music off. And then Miley Cyrus saying she released a free album on SoundCloud because she wanted people to listen to her music, and she's like made enough money. She's like, I have a house, I have my dogs, like what else do I need? And it was so cute. And Zayn retweeted it, and she like flipped or whatever she does, like her drama queen self. And I was like, yeah, because you suck, Taylor Swift. Like, he obviously knows like who's a good person, who's not. And I love Miley, so like, like she's a good person.
Taylor, especially like with that whole debate, it's like she's like, I'm just looking out for the little people. I'm just looking. No,
like, no, you're not. Yeah, you are straight up like thinking about yourself as that money rolls in.
Or her publicist or whatever, It's like, come on. For you, the listeners of the Can You Not podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. The book I'm going to recommend is Career of Evil by Robert Galbraith, which is the pseudonym of J.K. Rowling. I'm a huge fan of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter books, as is any sane person. But I would highly recommend these mystery books that she's written, too. They're very good in their own right, and they have just as many great characters and exciting moments that you would come to expect from none other than J.K. Rowling, in this case, a.k.a. Robert Galbraith. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/canyouNot. Again, that's audibletrial.com/canyouNot for your free audiobook. Thanks. I couldn't narrow down one album.
Oh,
that's
you
fine.
can't. You break the rules all the time.
I thought if I just made a top 20 list, you could just roast me on my
top 20. You couldn't narrow it down more than 20.
No. 2 weeks in a row you've done this. He brought up a topic, and we're supposed to have like a very concrete topic. He chooses feelings.
Oh, I know. I listened to that one.
You're not allowed to make up the rules.
You can't make up the rules for your own podcast, Joe.
I'll choose. Okay.
It's not his, it's ours.
I'll start by talking about one of them.
Okay, do your number one.
I don't have a number one,
right.
but I'll choose one that is kind of an interesting one that affected me a lot. There was a guy in the late 50s, early 60s. Jesse's already done.
Yeah, well, let's just say yes or no as you go down the list.
Name Tom Lehrer.
Nope.
I don't know who that is.
And most people don't, but the only reason I knew is because I found this CD at my grandpa's house when I was little, and I was like, "Can I listen to this?" And he's like, "I guess." And essentially, Tom Lehrer was actually he's still alive. He did these satire songs. They were like these super witty. He would always you just basically him at the piano. Like, I didn't get any of the jokes, and of course half these jokes are only relevant if you like from the 50s and 60s and stuff, but it still left a mark on me in that people made satire songs
so
to begin
we
with.
have this to blame for you being corny as hell.
Probably his most popular song that maybe you've heard of possibly is he did a song where he did The Elements. And okay.
Cricket.
Took a Gilbert and Sullivan song and did The Elements on top of it. He had it completely memorized, his stuff.
So next.
He's a really interesting guy, and he basically left the business after working for 5 years, and he's done like one performance since like in the 90s, and now he's just basically a recluse. But that was an interesting one for me. Another big one for me, I don't know if I should say the one that people would recognize or not recognize.
Probably one that people would recognize.
Hunky Dory by...
It's not.
So, I'll listen, I'm not entertaining this. Next one.
Yeah. Kid A by Radiohead.
Such a good album.
I don't really listen to Radiohead.
That's the one to get into.
That's probably a good one. Well,
that's the most, I think, friendly one to get into.
I would say maybe OK Computer. That's a little bit more like guitar and more like traditional, I think. But then I think that should be like the next one should be Kid A. Because I love
those are only two albums I really know. That's the funny thing. Those are the best ones. Those are really good.
And the cool thing I think about Radiohead is that they started out when they had their song Creep. And everyone thought they were just a one-hit wonder grunge whatever, because it was basically a standard grunge song without too much really to recommend itself outside of that. But I just love the fact that these guys who were just pinned as this one-hit wonder then started playing around in the studio and helped like really electronic music be thrust to the forefront of like pop music and stuff, which hadn't been played, it had been done and incorporated, but they really changed the game when it came to that stuff.
It kind of gave alt rock a new face.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of putting it. And they weren't going in a house kind of feel with electronics. It was very, we would call it indie now.
Yeah. They had songs that were completely minimalist and songs that would just blare at you and fill up the whole headspace. And their newest album continues it, and it's so good, and it's one of their best, I think. But there's that one. What are some other ones on here? I did choose To Pimp a Butterfly as my favorite.
Let's get into it.
I'm just gonna have to say
let's get into it because it's such a good album. I think the best part is piecing the interview between him and Tupac and not knowing, because off of first listen you're just thinking, oh, he's saying a poet, like a poem at the end. Yeah. But then it turns into him talking to Tupac.
Wait, I didn't know it's based off an interview.
So after each song there's a little excerpt of him talking, and basically after you get to the last track, which is Mortal Man, there's 12 more minutes in the song, and it's him talking to Tupac. It's so freaky.
It's surreal.
It's surreal, and it's part of the album concept.
Nice.
Some other favorites. I'm of course a huge Beatles fan. If I had to choose them, probably the White Album, because
Ozma doesn't approve.
I think the Beatles are overrated. I think they're like an equivalent to like One Direction, but One Direction's our time, because but I mean, there are definitely some more classics, but like when they were like of their time, they were like 16-year-old girls like freaking out over them, like same ordeal. I don't know, like I personally, I think it's just like I've heard it so many times.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, I never really got into it, so it's just overplayed for me.
I do agree that the Beatles are overrated, but they were the first band I became like obsessed with. So there's always that kind of special.
Yeah.
You know, like that's when like I gotta get all these albums and stuff. You know, it's like so for like 6th grade Joe, that was like whoa.
So your next album is Hootie and the Blowfish.
I could do an entire 10-minute segment on how the Beatles are superior to One Direction, but I'll leave that.
That'll be next week.
Some other favorites include Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder, who I think there's something so magical about his songs that I think is really hard to define. There's something about like the way he does key changes and the way he uses his voice, and it's just Stevie Wonder's magic, so there's that.
There's no debate there.
A lot of respect.
Mutations by Beck. I'm also a huge fan of Beck, and that's probably my favorite of his albums. I don't know if you've heard of Elliott Smith.
Yeah.
I love Elliott Smith. And he's another one who died relatively young by suicide. But his music, he was such a guitar virtuoso, and all of his songs are so, like, more complex than they seem, I guess. Like, if you really, like, listen to the lyrics or listen to the music themselves, it's actually very technically complex, I guess. Another one, of course, is Thriller by Michael Jackson, which I think, like, he has so many great albums, but there's, like, I don't think there's a weak link on that album. I feel like every song on that album deserves to be listened to. So that's...
People that don't like Thriller, they're going to say Bad's better.
I don't think I think the closer comparison would be Off the Wall. I think that one's probably...
That's interesting.
At least for me.
Agree to disagree.
All right.
Thriller is way better than Off the Wall, so whoever says that, that's a lie. But I think Bad's better than Thriller, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. Well, how would you edge it out?
I guess I would edge it out. But here's the thing. Like, the albums sonically are not that different to me. I feel like Bad's a little bit grittier. Thriller's a little bit prettier in sound. You know what I mean? But they're the same. They're not the same album, but he was going through that same era in his creativity and stuff like that.
It definitely feels like sister albums.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of Michael Jackson, Ozma?
I feel like I listened to him a lot when I was younger, or like not even a lot, just like an average amount as a child. Not really. So. Yeah, you know.
Another favorite is Carole King, who has, I think, one of the most gorgeous voices ever put to audio. And her soundtrack in particular for Really Rosie is fantastic. Billy Joel is another favorite of mine. Again, it's another one where he's like, it's such a lame choice.
I feel like you're about to say Duran Duran.
It's like such a... But The Stranger by Billy Joel is a great album. And I don't care what anyone gives me crap about liking Billy Joel. I like Billy Joel and I'm proud. I went to a Billy Joel concert. It was great.
You know who's not impressed? Us too.
Yeah. See if I can squeak one more into here. Stereo Star Type A by C.Y.N.
No.
They were primarily...
You had one job, Joe.
They're two...
impossible.
They're two Asian women who did like experimental like rock in the late 90s.
You know who you sound like right now?
It's so good.
You know who you sound like right now? Who is the character from SNL who would like talk about New York club promotions? And he'd be like, there's this new bar, and it's about midgets wrestling. The midgets have kilts. You have never heard of it before. Like, that's your music reviews. Yeah. All you had to do was talk about one album.
I can't talk about just one album.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You failed. You fail, Joe.
I just have so many albums that I care about.
Don't we all? But we brought one to the table.
I'd be very curious. Maybe next time we have Amber in the apartment, we can hear what her one album choice is.
Hers is gonna be some random one that's from a Goodwill bin. That's a Americana album.
My favorite album is Glass Potato. It's by the Cardboard Painted Ladies.
There's this great group. They're called Mason and the Jars. Their lead single, Plaid Overall, is really good.
I'm like surprised that name hasn't been taken yet.
I know.
That was good on the spot.
Trademark.
Yeah, but I don't know if anyone's heard the new Grimy La 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 song. It ain't right if it ain't tight. I think it's just a phenomenal song, and everyone should check that one out.
Another one, it's a guy and a bunch of women with beards, and it's called Lumber and the Jacks. And their lead single's called Accident.
Well, actually, I like this Washboard and Triangle band, and they basically like take a human ear and scrape it up against the washboard until it's not there anymore.
The lead single is Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Anyway, well, thank you so much for joining us today, Ozma. We really appreciated having you and your wonderful thoughts on music.
Thank you.
If you want to check out more episodes without Ozma, you can,
yeah.
you can go to iTunes at Can You Not under the podcast sections, or you can go to soundcloud.com/CYN podcast. Email us at canyouNotPodcast@gmail.com. Our Twitter is CYNPLZ, and our Facebook is facebook.com/CanYouNotPodcast. All the links. Ozma, do you have any social media that they should follow you on?
I have an Instagram.
All right.
And that's it.
What's the Instagram handle?
ASAPWADI.
I'm done.
ASAPWADI.
Oh, caught off guard.
What did we learn today, everybody?
You make the whole rules up and you decide.
I'm really terrible at rules.
That you should get an air conditioner.
Yes, that too.
Kendrick Lamar is
a genius.
And a god. Amongst men. And really
like I just get so psyched hearing any new song from him.
Yeah.
Like they just remixed that part by Schoolboy Q. Did you hear it? Oh,
Yeah.
love him. Like it soothes my soul when I hear his voice again. I'm like, oh, thank you.
His distinctive rasp.
Yes.
All right. But we always end each episode by just saying, "Can you not?"
All right.
So, can you not?
Can you not?
Can you not?